Hey, I wanted to cover this one. I've seen a lot of stuff over the past few weeks about the mainstream media and other places, social media, trying to encourage like random people to vote. Um, I don't agree with this. All right, ask yourself, how much do you think the average person knows about politics or really understands about what's going on? These uninformed and sometimes misinformed people. How much do you think they really know? How able do you really think they are to make a great decision about what to vote for and why? I don't have much faith in them personally. I read those stuff that both Fox and some of the mainstream media outlets say, and neither of them, they seem pretty key to keeping the system the way it is, and seem pretty keen on making sure there's no real change. So I don't exactly think they're good sources. I mean, Fox won't cover anything that's anti-Jewish, for example, and CNN and those types of outlets won't cover that explains the realities of racial situations and why things are the way they are. I think encouraging more people to get out to vote um, really affects the bottom line of places like YouTube and Facebook and all that, and any newspaper or media outlet. The more people they can get involved, the more people who are likely to consume their bullshit and therefore make them a lot of money. So they're not unbiased parties here. Um, the other thing is that the type of people that they're trying to attract to vote with this kind of stuff are not going to be people who vote right leaning. These people are going to be left. You know why? Because people who are busy with businesses and families and shit, they're not playing around on YouTube and trying to vote all day. They're like going out and working and stuff. But those fools who pretend to be in school or just laid off, collecting welfare, sitting on their butts, doing whatever. They got plenty of time to go look on YouTube all they want and Facebook and whatever and go read about other people's political thoughts which are often lying and not telling the truth. Um, you got to understand that I don't want a democracy and no one else should either. In a democracy, right, even the dumbest voters vote is worth just as much as yours. And you obviously should have an idea of what that's going to affect. Like, what do you think poor people vote for? Poor people don't vote for long-term solutions and solving problems. They vote for short-term things. Like, if I'm hungry, do you really think I'm gonna worry? I'm gonna pick something that will get me all the food I need next year, or do you think I'm gonna vote for something that's gonna get me some food now? Of course, I'm gonna vote for something that gets me food now. It's like a lot of other problems. It's like, okay, we think things are violent, so let's get rid of guns. Okay, I mean that makes sense, except when you think about it and realize that people wouldn't be shooting as much and getting killed if everyone had a gun because then they'd know that everyone's loaded, so don't pull that kind of stuff. I mean, if you were going to shoot someone, would you pick someone who has a gun or someone who doesn't? Obviously, someone who doesn't. And this ignores the fact that like places like Chicago are completely gun free. They have all these laws, yet more people get shot there than almost anywhere else in the U.S. And it's that kind of short term thinking that is absolutely dangerous to the society, and it's not stuff I support. So I was thinking about this and arguing this with someone, and my idea comes down to this: like, I think there should be some restrictions on who can vote. I think number one, you should have to take some kind of class, right? We should establish some kind of class that for voting, which explains things and helps figure all that out for the normal person. I think you should have to do some military service, and we're not talking you have to be on the lines, but you can go be a nurse or whatever, or they have some library jobs, or they answer some calls somewhere in the Navy or whatever. You could go do that. It's not a problem. I also think it should be restricted to property owners because they're stuck here in the U.S. if they're buying property. You know what I mean? And we're only talking, of course, for Americans. So I mean, they're going to be looking towards the long term thing because they've got money invested into this. They're not going away. So I think that would be another requirement. I'd also definitely be interested in some kind of maybe you either have to be married or have to have kids or have done one of those. I think that could be another idea. Um, of course, it would restrict the vote to only whites and men. I mean, that's it's not even a question if I would do that. And of course, you would have to be American to do that. So that's another thing I would do. And I think all of these would make it a lot similar to what the original founders of the country did, and would make laws so that we have people making the true best decisions possible. I think my rules would also requiring reading about why socialism doesn't work and why it's a stupid ass concept, and also letting the people know that our system is fucked up because it only ensures two parties can win, and neither the right or the left. I don't care how you try to praise it. Neither one's done what they said they were going to do. The right hasn't conserved shit. We failed on drinking, sex, drugs, smoking. What else we failed on? We failed on abortion. We failed on gay marriage. All kinds of blue laws. All fails. And the left seems to think money is a solution to everyone's situation, and we've spent trillions on the school system, welfare, and all that, and that hasn't made anything even close to equal, and it's actually made things worse. I'm going to tell you, don't get out and vote unless you've been checking my channel, doing your own research, doing some studying, because until you can start seeing that both parties are the same, and both of them are more concerned about how are they going to raise that funding for their next election and keep their own asses in office, above what your needs and the needs of the country are. I mean, that's, maybe you shouldn't be voting. So I think we need voter restrictions. I don't think we need more open voting. And, democracies rarely ever work, and this country isn't a democracy on the national level, though it is on the House and Senate level, which I don't agree with either. And I would change those more to, like how the presidencies run, or more district style voting, with more committees and councils. I think it would be something like that. But that's my thought on it. Something you won't hear anywhere else. So keep that in mind when you see people begging for people to vote.